Actually, we'll start by moving to return from executive session.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gurr?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes. If you could all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we will get started this evening and welcome with our presentations and our Great Tree Awards. Mr. Drury.
There we go. Sorry. Good evening.
Hello.
So tonight I have the privilege of announcing the 2025 Great Tree Award winners. This program was initiated by our tree committee, and the purpose of this program is to recognize great trees throughout the township. Nominations were accepted via our Facebook page and our website page. That's where the notification of the program was, as well as in our Anderson Insights. The award program has 4 categories of trees. One is a shade tree, an evergreen tree, ornamental tree, and one for fall color. And nominations are taken throughout the year during the various seasons. We request the nominees to submit pictures in the different seasons. So it could be a fall picture, it could be a spring picture, or even a winter picture. So we had several nominations, and our tree committee reviewed the nominees, and tonight we're here to announce the winners. So in the first category was the shade tree winner, and Ms. Lawson, Trustee Lawson, is going to hand out the awards. The award winner was Vincent and Amy Ranfeld. They are at 7941 Heatherglen Drive, and this is an ash tree. I believe someone was here. Is it?
Pretty.
All right.
Oh.
I don't know if you wanted to say anything about your tree or not.
Did you plant that tree? Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. How long ago did you plant it?
It was probably about 30 years ago. It was about this tall. It replaced a willow we got in our neighbor's.
Oh, look at
We're really happy, and thank you for taking care of all the trees in the township, because it's really important to us, and we were very honored.
Well, thank you for planting that beautiful tree. Thank you.
The next category was the evergreen tree, and the winners for this are Scott and Brandy Schroeder at 6165 Stirrup.
I did not plant a tree. The tree was like 60-some feet tall. It was probably planted when the house was built in the 60s, thank you. But we haven't cut it down.
Congratulations.
And then the next category is an ornamental tree. The winner here is Zion Lutheran Church at 1169 Bernie Lane. And this is a crabapple. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not the right one. There we go.
Oh, yeah,
This
yeah.
is a crabapple.
There we go. Well, that's nice.
Our son's, he went to tree climbing school, and he taught me how to trim a tree, but he's done the most of the trimming on that tree.
It's pretty. He did a good job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then finally, for the fall color category, the winner is at 1075 Nimitz Lane. This is Joseph and Lauren Kepper, and this is a ginkgo tree, and they were unable to attend tonight.
It's a big ginkgo.
It's a big ginkgo.
Yeah, it's pretty. Good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
And then we have another presentation about our road construction projects.
So good evening. I know this map on the screen is very small. That's why there are handouts for those in the room that are here tonight. And also, this is on our website as well for folks that would like to look at it either graphically or through the list. So for over 20 years now, we have done an annual outreach to our neighbors, to utility providers, to those that might have road construction projects in and around the Anderson Township area to get a sense on what is occurring in our community. One of the kind of downsides, township government, there's many, many positives. One of the downsides is there's a lot of entities that have control over various roadways that impact us, and those include the Ohio Department of Transportation, Hamilton County Engineer's Office, of course the township itself, and then a multitude of other utility providers in and around Anderson, and that doesn't include our neighbors. Through this exercise over the years, we've been able to identify potential conflicts to minimize the impacts of road construction on our residents and motorists that are going in and through the township. So what you have and what is on the screen behind me or here and also in the packet is a listing of the road projects that are planned for this year, and I'm pleased to report in general it does not look to be a very difficult year navigation-wise unless it's right in front of your home. And we actually will be working on almost 50 township streets this year through the Public Works Department. Many of those streets are roadways that saw curb work last year and potentially sidewalk work. Those same streets under our 2-year rotation, and I'm speaking for Eric here, certainly he can speak much more to this, but those streets will be seeing the asphalt work here in year 2 of our 2-year process through that. So the other part in noticing in going through the map is that that is all over the community, so that we're one of the difficult things I think our Public Works Department had to undertake last year was that it wasn't just geographically centered in maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 neighborhoods. Literally, Eric was all over the township and certainly put enough miles on his vehicle managing those projects. Other than that, the other projects that we have is probably best shown in kind of the list. So in addition to the map that's out here and on our website, the list is as well, and it lists basically, we go through this alphabetically. So the township streets that are all listed and the nature of the work, including sidewalk work and other things like that. From a sidewalk perspective, the only major projects we have planned this year are on Wolf Angle Road near Clough Pike, sidewalk segments in that area, and then a new pedestrian crossing at Endo Valley and the Julius Park entrance at Clough Pike. It will be one of the first pedestrian hybrid beacons in Greater Cincinnati. That will be a pedestrian activated stoplight that we've been working on trying to implement improvements there for many, many years. The other items that are of note include a number of county engineers projects, namely the resurfacing and reconstruction of Sutton Road from the city of Cincinnati all the way down to Kellogg, which is a long overdue and much anticipated project. And then a number of projects that are undertaken by either Greater Cincinnati Water Works or Metropolitan Sewer District in relation to other projects, such as the township's reconstruction of Ayers Road. The final list of projects you'll see there is the Ohio Department of Transportation. We got a flavor of ODOT projects this past spring with the issues on I-275 just to the east of the US 52 interchange. They will be taking on a more aggressive reconstruction of that area in the coming years, as well as a number of other landslides on both US 52 and 275, including the 5-mile exit from 275 at exit 69. So again, fortunately though, when we look regionally and we look at the city of Cincinnati and our neighbors to the north and the east, a lot of things have wound down in the Eastgate area. We're not anticipating a lot of changes in Newtown, but I think we've all endured at least a couple weeks of what road construction is like with the flooding this past spring, and Ms. Earhart will talk about that here a little bit later. But from a road construction project perspective coming up, I think it should hopefully be a fairly manageable summer. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Again, this information will be shared on our social media, but it is currently on our website under the What's New section, right on the main page. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. And so now we will move on to public forum. So individuals who wish to address the board should state their name and address for the record, make their points as clearly and concisely as possible, and limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes, which may not be shared or yielded to others. All comments shall be directed to the Board of Township Trustees. Thank you in advance for your comments.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Sean Martin at 1113 Shangri-La Drive. I'm a proud resident of Anderson Township. I'm here tonight to express my wholehearted support for the reappointment of Matthew Delaney to our Anderson Township Park Board. While I don't know Matt personally, I've had the pleasure of seeing him at various park board meetings and community events such as a Fair for the Arts. Each time he's greeted me and my children with genuine warmth and enthusiasm. It's evident that he takes immense pride in our parks and their events. His demeanor reflects a deep commitment to our community's well-being. Professionally, Matt brings a valuable expertise to the board. As he is an attorney specializing in intellectual property law, he offers a keen understanding of complex legal matters. His background as a software engineer further enhances his analytical skills and problem-solving abilities. These qualifications have undoubtedly contributed to his effective leadership on the board. Matt's dedication extends beyond his professional life. He has been serving as a park commissioner since 2020, stepping into the role with a clear passion for public service. In 2019, he was recognized as the Law Firm Attorney of the Year by Pro Bono Partnership of Ohio, highlighting his commitment to giving back to the community. Under his leadership, the Park Board has made significant forward-thinking strides. His proactive approach demonstrates foresight and a deep understanding of why people move to Anderson Township, the parks, and the schools. It is why my family moved here over 12 years ago. In summary, Matt Delaney embodies the qualities we seek in community leader: dedication, expertise, and a genuine passion for public service. I urge you to reappoint him to the Anderson Township Park Board, where he can continue to contribute to the betterment of our community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Anything else for public comment? Okay, so we will close the public forum. And now we move on to trustee comments. I'll start with you, Dee.
Just want to remind everyone the Great American Cleanup is Saturday, April 26th. And you can just show up that day. You don't have to sign up. You just show up that day in our lobby. We give you the vest, we give you the pickers, we give you the trash bags, and then you don't even have to bring the trash bags. You know, they're picked up wherever you pick up the stuff. It's a great way to volunteer to make our community more beautiful. So that's it.
Thank you, Dee. Josh.
Along those same lines, there's a couple other events coming up in May. One is the Forest Hills Foundation 5K, which I think is May 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also are bringing back the Fireman's Festival, for those who don't know or haven't heard. And that will be down at Belterra Park on May 30th and 31st, Friday and Saturday. So we're all excited about bringing that back. Should be a great community event.
Thank you. So my comments tonight are about another event on May 10th. So at 10 a.m., the American Legion Post 318 has their flagpole dedication. Yeah. At 10 a.m., and this is open to the public so that everyone's welcome to come. I know they would be happy to have that support. And then, yeah, there's a lot of events going on. So the same day as the Great American Cleanup, there's the Drug Take Back Day. So you can bring in prescription and over-the-counter unwanted medications. There are some restrictions like with inhalers or things like that. But yes, that's here. And then the community-wide yard sale day.
Oh.
Yeah, next, April 30th is the last day to register your home. There's no fee to participate, but you do need to email your household to Betty. The other thing happening on May 10th from 9 to 3 is the Historical Society has their annual plant sale at Family Pet Center on Clough, and so it's always good to support them. And happy Easter, of course, because the township is closed tomorrow, half a day for Good Friday. Snuck up on me. I did also just want to comment on the public comments that were made. So, Mr. Martin, I'll just thank you for taking the time to share your comments and your recommendations. I did want to comment on the process in general as far as relating to the appointment process. for park commissioners, because I have seen comments about it, and in addition to your comments, and I received an email or a few. These positions, these are not elected positions. The commissioners are not compensated, so they are volunteering their time to serve. These public office appointments, they are very serious appointments. There is no grandfathering in, so when we post and ask for people to apply for these roles, we are looking for the best candidates, and it is an interview process. So there are public pieces to this, recommendations, emails, their resume, and things like that. But then there's an interview process, and it's not pencil whipped, it's a real interview. One of the things, and so I'm a nurse by trade, but I also have a corporate background, it always really bugged me when a role was posted, but someone was already known they were going to get it for whatever reason. When we asked for candidates, we were being honest. I took that interview process seriously, and I do. And so even if there's public feedback, it can't be a popularity contest, or it can't be only based on public information. A big part of this process is the interview, and that's done in exec session. There are no notes, and I think that can be challenging for feeling the public that they have a input or weigh in on this. But the fact that there are no notes also has challenges for us as trustees. Candidates may say things that very clearly maybe relay their intentions, and we couldn't comment on that. There's nothing stopping a candidate from saying whatever after the interview process that we wouldn't be able to comment on. So I just wanted to go back to that process and explain that those interviews have been happening for 20 years before my tenure. And each candidate that I interviewed, it was a rigorous interview with lots of very specific questions, and not all of that is public. So I do truly appreciate the public input that we've received. And the entire interview process for me personally as a trustee is something I take very seriously. And that's how I make my decisions, and I stand by that. And I think that's what we look for in leaders, is to make a decision with all the information they have, not just with what's public. Okay, so moving on.
I have one more comment, but thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
And I agree with everything Alexi just said. I think we would be remiss. Thank you, everyone, for cleaning up the flood. I'm like, it's cleaned.
Thank you, Dee.
This staff, everybody sitting in this room, worked really hard, because there was a big mess down there along the river, and
Yes.
And drone shots and rescues and whatever, and cleaning up mud, and it's a big process. And I just want to thank everybody here for doing such a good job, because now you drive down there and it looks just fine, but it didn't look fine last week. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dee. That was a great call out. Okay, so that will conclude trustee comments, and now we will move over to fiscal officer. Brian.
You have the March financials in your packet. I'll note that we did receive the first half settlement from the county auditor this week, so that is not reflected in the March financials. But you'll notice that we're a little bit ahead of last year in our collections, about 5% higher than last year. The general fund is higher than that, but a lot of that is, some of it's timing when the county auditor does their collections, because our revenue is really fairly consistent from year to year. We're collecting more because of the safety service levy. And then we've also tried to do a more diligent job with our investments. And so you'll see that, and some of that is because we had some investments that were kind of long-term, invested at low rates when the markets were really low, and last year the rates were considerably higher, so we've rolled some really underperforming investments into some better high rates. So you'll see that those are paying off. But generally the revenue is fairly consistent from year to year, and so you can see that. Now, I will say that when you're looking at the percentage columns, I have to remind myself with the way these reports are, and we are looking at the new accounting system, so it will be clearer. But so if you're looking at the prior year numbers, that's percentage of actual, and if you're looking at the current year numbers, it's for the percentage of what we estimate. So it's not exactly apples to apples, it's a little apples to orange. So when you do look at comparing it to last year, that current year percentage is what we think is happening this year, which, like I said, it's mostly consistent, but we do make changes on the estimates. So on the expenditure side, the numbers include the permanent appropriations that you approved last month, so those are reflected in there. We don't have any changes to appropriations. We're early in the year and we've appropriated sufficiently, but we do have some one payment that needs your approval for the then and nows, and that's at 6B.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing payments.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
And I am behind on getting minutes to you. I'm going to be catching up this week and next week, but I do have.
This was a busy week for you. It's a busy season for you.
It was a little hectic, but I do have 4 here for you.
I move to adopt the minutes for, approve the minutes for December 19th, 2024, March 6th, 2025, March 31st, 2025, and April 7th, 2025.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
And the last thing, we're actually going to talk about it in the administrator's section, but the two of us went to the county auditor's she had an event last week, auditor advocacy addressing property tax crisis. So we have some slides and some information from that in her section.
Nice. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Brian. Okay, so moving to our law director, Margaret, do you have anything this evening?
No report tonight.
Thank you, Margaret. Finance, anything? Thank you, Tammy. And then Paul, anything else? Thank you, Mr. Drury. Fire and Rescue, Chief Martin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The fire department only has one item tonight. The fire department is requesting authorization to sell some obsolete and unfit for use items under the Ohio Revised Code. This utilizes a online auction at no expense, just like the other items we have sold. No expense to the township. The buyer pays the premium, and it's open to the general public. These are items, this batch of items is EMS equipment that is either out of date or we moved on to more successful equipment or more advanced equipment. So there's a resolution before you for your consideration.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus equipment pursuant to Section 505.10 of the Revised Code, providing for sale of personal property via internet auction.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
That's all from the fire department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always appreciate those auctions. Thank you so much. Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Hello.
Sergeant Viner with on behalf of the Sheriff's Office. Tonight I'm presenting a liquor license transfer request for the Anderson Pub and Grill located at 8060 Beachmont Avenue. The Sheriff's Office has no objection.
Thank you. I move not to object to a liquor license stock transfer request for Anderson Pub and Grill LLC located at 8060 Beachmont Avenue.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Garth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes. Thank you. Anything tonight, Mr. Luganbuehl, for Public Works? Thank you. Okay, so I will turn it over to you, Vicki, our Township Administrator.
Yes, Mr. Magna has the first 3 items.
Sorry, Mark.
Good evening. The first item I have tonight is a motion authorizing the bidding of the Heritage Center parking lot rehab project. We'll bid it out probably next month and come back to you in June to award the lowest bidder. We're going to be replacing the pavers and resurfacing the parking lot. I can answer any questions for your consideration.
I move to authorize bid document preparation and advertisement for the Heritage Center parking lot rehab project, which will be funded by the general fund as indicated in the 2025 budget.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. My next item
Wait,
is
I have a question on that real quick, and I should ask you this before, but those pavers, aren't some of them carved or,
the dedication pavers are the walkway in front of the house.
so that's,
not
those will
gonna
be,
be touched.
those, okay.
Those are staying
Just
where
wanted
they're
to
at,
clarify
yes.
that. Thank you.
The next item is a resolution for your consideration ratifying action taken by the Township Administrator in designating Cemetery Energy Solutions as our natural gas supplier provider to Township facilities. For your consideration.
Yeah, I'll do, yeah.
Okay.
I move to adopt a resolution ratifying action taken by the Township Administrator in designating Cemetery Energy Solutions LLC as natural gas supply provider to the Township for Township facilities accounts and executing and delivering an agreement with the designated natural gas supply provider.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, thank you. This evening, and thank you, Mrs. Stone, for your comments on the flood. I'm not sure, this is one of my passions as far as the township and the service that we provide. We do have an emergency operations center located in the lower level of this facility. And when there is an emergency situation, it's literally all hands on deck. Our administrative assistants everywhere, all the way up the chain, to assistant administrator for operations and our assistant administrator for HR. At times we pull in the trustees depending on the level of the emergency. And the April flooding was one of those situations where, people that have lived here for a long time kind of know, yeah, the river's going to rise, there's going to be some issues kind of thing, but I don't think everybody understands what goes on behind the scenes. One of the first thing I want to point out is you all will be getting your Anderson Insights newsletter in the mail if you haven't already received it. There is an insert that helps you understand what, as a resident, you can do to help prepare yourself, your family members, your friends. It's good common sense information that Hamilton County Emergency Management helped us draft that brochure along with our staff. And, we all need to be prepared, whether it's flooding, whether it's an earthquake, tornado, a cybersecurity incident, whatever the case may be, we all need to make sure we're prepared to take care of ourselves at our homes for 3 days. That becomes a little bit more complicated when you have perhaps family members that have some type of disability, or you're looking, some people are reliant on oxygen, or reliant on CPAP machines or those types of things. So it's important to make sure that you are personally prepared. From the township's side of things, this flooding, like I said, was an all hands on deck process. For the first time in my 30 years here, we were very, very pleased to be working hand in hand with the city of Cincinnati. The city of Cincinnati opened their emergency operations center, and Mr. Sievers and I participated in briefings every day during the flood for about 7 or 8 days. It was not only the city of Cincinnati, it was all their departments, including the National Weather Service was involved, Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency, MSD, Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, their fire department, Cincinnati Police Department, Cincinnati Parks, their health department, Metro, ODOT, Lunken Airport. And I know for myself, I learned quite a bit about the issues that the city deals with during this flooding, and they learned quite a bit about what we deal with, working hand in hand to try to make travel easier for our residents, for folks that were in the city. And I can't thank enough our Fire Chief Rick Martin and Lieutenant Dave Downing with the Sheriff's Office and Eric Luganbuehl with Public Works. They had their crews out on the streets every day checking to see when the water was rising. Mr. Sievers then communicated that to the Hamilton County Engineers Office or to ODOT. Hamilton County Engineers Office was stretched, and they have a lot of roadways to cover, so by us going out in the field, checking on the water levels multiple times a day, and then reporting back to the county, they were able to get signage in place. I'm proud of the staff. They did innovative things like, instead of putting the sign where the road was closed because of water, making sure that the signs were placed, warning signs were placed well in advance so that people didn't have to drive down to the floodwater and then have to turn around and come back. We communicated with the Forest Hills School District as far as their bus transportation. We communicated with Anderson Park District, with the Village of Newtown. As many of you know, we provide fire and EMS service to the Village of Newtown, so we covered that area as well. One of the big successes for the village, I believe, was the Metropolitan Sewer District installed some pumps on 32, and that kept some homes from flooding in that area. Again, this is something that we learned in working with the city and our neighbors in Newtown. Public Works is still working on flood recovery. They have dumpsters that have been placed in the northern area of our township, in the Cottage Park and Shademore area. These are seasonal homes where people did experience flooding along the Little Miami River. So Public Works is placing dumpsters there so residents could clean out their flood damaged goods, put them in the dumpster, they're hauled off, and then replaced with new dumpsters. We're going to continue that for a couple more rounds because they have been heavily utilized. Public Works has also cleaned up Steamboat, one of the roads that they take care of. A lot of the roads are Hamilton County Engineer, Kellogg, and some other areas. So we worked hand in hand with the county as well. Mr. Magna was out checking on our facilities and some of the areas that we had some flood damage, albeit it was very minor. And Fire Station 22, which is the fire station in the Village of Newtown that we occupy, they have cleanup kits that were provided free of charge by Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Those cleanup kits are available to folks that can call and ask for a kit. Provides things like bleach, cleaning supplies, and also the proper way to dispose of a lot of this debris, which can be hazardous because it's been in floodwaters. Planning and Zoning, Mr. Drury's department and Mr. Sievers were out with drones, taking drone footage of the flooded areas. This is important because when we want to submit damage assessment forms to show the increased amount of cost that the township may have incurred due to flooding, be it the dumpsters that I mentioned before, road cleanup areas, if we had additional fire or police on the road, we can apply for funding through Hamilton County EMA. They in turn apply to the State of Ohio Emergency Management Agency, and then if we meet a threshold, if our entire region meets a certain dollar threshold, then we can apply for FEMA funding and get reimbursed. Right now, we are in the process of doing those damage assessment forms. They need to be turned in by April 25th. I've provided all of those forms to the Anderson Township Park District as well, because they are also eligible to apply for disaster relief. I'm not sure we're going to get it this go round because fortunately, it's one of those good news, bad news things. I don't think the damage was sufficient enough dollar-wise that we will qualify for funding. But if everybody does their part and turns in the form, then that helps to show the increased cost and we get closer to that mark. I would like to thank Fire, as I mentioned before. They did 7 high water responses, including 2 water rescues where people drove around signs or didn't see that the water was high. And one of those was down at the old Coney Island Gateway, where we did mutual aid. It was actually on the City of Cincinnati side, but we had somebody that drove through, I don't know, 7 or 8 signs that said, stop, don't do this, and ended up in the water. I can't express enough the danger with water. It may look shallow. You don't know until you're in it. Just a few feet can move a car. It is just not worth somebody's life, or certainly when we have to go out from a fire and rescue standpoint, we may be in a situation where we're trying to help someone else, but we can't because we have to deploy boats and we have to deploy people to go out and save somebody from water. So please turn around, don't drown. As far as the sheriff's office, they had 61 details. Now this includes, because you all remember before the flood, we had a significant windstorm come through the township. So there was significant damage as well from that. So sheriff's office was at about 61 times. Public Works also dealt with some downed trees from that situation. So I joked with Mr. Sievers. Sunday morning we were on a call with the city for flooding, and by 5 o'clock Monday I said, we've got our 40 hours in this week, we're good. But I can't appreciate staff enough for everything they do. They're always there, whether it's 1 a.m. or working overtime or working on the weekends. Everybody does it to try to make the township and our residents safer. So thank you. The next item I have, Mr. Johnson mentioned. We went to the Hamilton County Auditors meeting, and I was asked by the board to attend this. This is the Auditor Advocacy Program. This is related to addressing the property tax crisis. And I don't have the full presentation here. It's about 45 slides long. I will be discussing this with the board in greater detail in the future, but I wanted to give the board and the audience a taste of what was discussed. If you could go to the next slide, Steve, please. So this is an effort by the County Auditors Association in the state of Ohio. The County Auditors Association represents all 88 counties in the state. It is a bipartisan effort to try to come up with a solution to reduce property taxes. In the session that Mr. Johnson and I attended, it was Hamilton County Auditor Jessica Miranda who led this group, and then Warren County and Montgomery County auditors were there as well. There were other presenters that attended, including the Council on Aging, and I'm going to be focusing my comments on their presentation tonight. United Way, the Cincinnati Association, and Sycamore Schools, representing school districts in our community. So a couple of the things we discussed was, as we all know, the median home values have increased significantly, 67% in just 5 years. It's not that they're increasing, but they're increasing at a faster rate. Steve. So these couple of slides depict where those increases are. For example, in 2020, the average increase in property values across Ohio was 19%. In Hamilton County, it was 14%. Then you move on to the next year, where we're looking at 23. In 23, it was a 27% increase, and in 24, a 32% increase. For Hamilton County, that was a 28% increase in property values. So knowing that property taxes are going up, it's a concern for all of us. The state legislature has introduced a number of bills over the last General Assembly. That was the 135th General Assembly. They formed a joint committee on property tax review and reform, and we were all hopeful that we would see some relief. Well, after almost 2 years, next slide, please. After almost 2 years, the committee came back with no real recommendations. They ended the session with only voting on 2 out of the 23 bills that were introduced, and this is over a 2-year period. So there's mobilization not only with the county auditors, but also coming back to different agencies, including the Ohio Township Association and others, including this Board of Township Trustees. So what County Auditor Miranda explained to us is not just the valuation problem for the homes, it's a tax problem. For almost 2 decades, state lawmakers have enacted bills that are moving more and more of the burden onto the backs of property owners. And we've certainly seen that in my tenure here in the township. In 2013, we lost the estate tax to the tune of $1.7 million that came to this township annually. That was eliminated. There were changes in the commercial activity tax and local government fund reductions, public utility tax. All that revenue that used to come to Anderson Township into our general fund totaled about $7 million over the course of 6 years. That revenue went to the state's general revenue fund, not to Anderson Township, where we are working off of property taxes. So the next slide starts talking about the County Auditors Association recommendations. They have 4 recommendations. I would encourage you to visit their website. And again, we'll be putting more of this information out for the public. Expanding the homestead program, eliminating the non-business credit, limiting reappraisal-driven revenue growth, and that impacts the school district, and I know the school district has addressed this on their own a number of times, and then kind of creating a menu of targeted relief. As I said, I want to focus tonight on the homestead portion of this because this has a tremendous impact on our residents. So the 2 presenters for this portion were Auditor Miranda and also Susan Burke, who is the CEO of the Council on Aging. We work closely with Suzanne on our senior center and other programs that are delivered by the Council on Aging to our residents. So she had some interesting statistics as far as the fact that there are 13,000 older adults in Hamilton County who have been impacted by the rising costs of home ownership. As we hear a lot of this. People want to reside in their homes for an extended period. They want to grow old in their home. And they have built that home, they have lived in this community, and they want to stay there. But many of them are on fixed income. So their out-of-pocket expenses, their rent, everything is just continuing to increase, including the property taxes. So with older adults, there's some interesting stats here just for Hamilton County. 69.3% live in owner-occupied housing. 26.8% spend 30% or more of their monthly income on housing-related costs. And their median monthly income is $1,430, or cost with mortgage, $1,431. So they're looking at average monthly out-of-pocket expenses for medical around $300 a month, and their average income is only about $1,900 a month. So when you add other costs, homeownership becomes more and more of an issue. The problem is that we're all aging. The older adult population is growing. Property values are increasing, so their taxes are increasing. A lot of folks are relying on Social Security, and that Social Security increases have not kept pace with the cost of living. So it's adding financial pressure to seniors who are trying to stay in their home. What the County Auditors Association has worked on, and the Council on Aging has also worked on, this is not new, as it says right there. People are struggling with housing-related costs. They're trying to work through to get that homestead credit changed. And again, a lot of the details are on their website as far as how they propose to do that. But a lot of folks, Council on Aging went through and tried to contact people in Hamilton County to make sure they were aware of the homestead credit and make sure that they were taking advantage of that. They did find almost 800 people who were eligible but had not yet enrolled. And it is dependent on your age, and it's also dependent on your income. So there is a push to try to reduce or either increase the dollar amount for the income or to eliminate that at all and just say if you're over 65 that you don't have to, or you can take advantage of the homestead credit. So just recapping a little bit, folks that are on a fixed income, medical bills, property taxes, insurance, you name it, food, everything is going up. So this board has directed me to do everything that we can to try to reduce property taxes, to try to be more effective and efficient. The trustees are active as well. Mrs. Lawson recently went to Columbus to testify on legislation that would remove some additional funding from us. Mr. Girth is on the Ohio Township Association Board of Directors. He's very active in legislative efforts at the state. Mrs. Stone is also on the Coalition of Large Ohio Urban Townships. They're all lobbying and advocating for what we can do to reduce property taxes for our residents. Does the board have any questions or comments?
No, I will just comment on, first of all, I do appreciate you presenting this for this public meeting and all the efforts that you have worked on in my tenure to reduce the property tax burden from so many angles, really thoughtful planning and thinking outside of the box, because as you said earlier, our residents are aging in place, and that is a good thing. So we do appreciate all your efforts and including us in that communication. Thank you.
Okay. We will be discussing, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson.
I was going to say, the thing I took away from it was when Auditor Miranda was explaining it, she explained that this is not a valuation problem, which Ms. Earhart said. And I think we could all agree that, you know, if you've tried to sell a house or if you've tried to buy a house, everything is up. So, and I know some people thought that their houses were overvalued, and there are instances where that happens and you can appeal it. But when I got mine, I knew that the houses on my street that have sold and what they sold for, and I thought, I can't really argue with that. It was higher than I thought it should be, but I thought, well, I can't argue with that because it's pretty close. Because the process they go through to value these houses is stringent. You know, it's pretty accurate, but it's how they calculate. You know, following the law. That's the problem. And one of the main things is this homestead exemption has not been increased for inflation since 2014. So it's been staying at the same rate, while everybody else, you know, costs are going up,
Right.
and values are going up. So that's part of the problem. But I would say everybody should go to the County Auditors Association of Ohio website. It has the link. It has all the slides, and you can get a more in-depth understanding of why it is the way it is. And the county auditors are the ones who are in the trenches dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. So I trust their analysis, and it seems accurate.
Thank you, Brian.
You know, and this is a good point to the fact that it's a tax problem, because this kind of exemplifies the fact that we need to put priority over what's important and what people are paying for. And emergency services, infrastructure, the basic things that government provide continue to be important, expensive, and obviously we pay for those. It's the things that people or organizations want, the wants. For instance, a capital levy from the park district to pay for playgrounds and pickleball and things like that, that I have concerns over. And this is not a new thing. This has been going on for a couple of years. And since we're all talking about the park district of late and the issues around what's going on there, that's an important part of the process that everyone needs to understand. People shouldn't be paying on their taxes for wants, for amenities, for things that we could have done or helped with or paid through sponsorships or fundraising or other efforts. But instead, decisions were made by people on the board to levy our residents for things that a small fraction of people use. Playgrounds, pickleball. And so it is incumbent upon all of us on this board and everyone in this room who you guys continue to work very hard for and all of the resources that we've given them and all of the things that we continue to do, whether it's flooding or working with the parks or working with the schools or whatever it is, it's more important now than anything, than it's ever been. So I appreciate everything you've done. I appreciate you guys going to that meeting, because that's the kind of stuff we need to talk about on how we're going to fix this problem.
Yes, and if I may, you know, I know it was very, very difficult for this board to go after the public safety levy, which we were fortunate that the voters did approve. But our last road and bridge levy was from 1998. And the reason that we're able to continue to maintain the roads without going back to the residents for a levy is because of our TIF dollars. And, you know, it is something I think we take pride in, and Mr. Luganbuehl paves quite a bit of roadway every year to try to keep that maintained, and try to keep from going back to the voters as much as we can. It is an issue at the state level as far as the funding. I know the schools struggle with it, and to have the state joint committee spend 2 years and come back with no recommendations, it does nothing but leave us in the position of we need to lead the charge, and I know that the board is doing that, and we will continue to do it. There is an entire packet that Auditor Miranda sent us that we will be working on implementing pieces of that, and kind of rolling into the next topic on the agenda is the planning meeting. The Board of Township Trustees holds an annual planning meeting, and that planning meeting will be held on May 1st, beginning at 8:30 a.m. at Highwood Lodge at Withrow Nature Preserve. Our good friends at Great Parks of Hamilton County let us use that lodge for, I think, a whopping $99. So we're able to go there, and I would like to have further discussion with the board on how you want us to roll this out. There are templates as far as letters that can be sent to our legislators, things that our residents can do to help us fight this. So we'll get into more detail about that on May 1st. That is all the board, all the staff have this evening. There are no items arising from executive session.
Thank you so much, Vicki. That will conclude our meeting. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting will be May 15th at 5 p.m. And I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mrs. Lawson?
Yes.
Thank you.